Hey, how are you doing, everybody? This is the first chapter, or whatever you want to call it. First video in a little series I want to do. Maybe I'm going to call it So You Want to Get Better at Guitar. It kind of applies to almost anything, though. So you want to get better at stuff. I could call it that as well. And we're going to dive right in right here. Hey, everybody. How are you today? We're going to talk today about getting better on guitar. And actually, some of the stuff I'll be talking about here has a lot to do with getting better at almost anything, but we're going to apply it to guitar, of course, here. So I'm about to ask you a question that I know you know the answer to. You probably won't know it immediately, but I'm confident, in fact 100% confident, that you will know the answer. I'll get to that question shortly, and there's a reason why I'm stalling. Before I ask you this question, imagine that you're on a game show with other contestants to win prizes. And the first person to answer the question I'm about to ask wins the prize. You can see how a quick retrieval of the knowledge that it takes to answer this question could be handy. You'll make money. So before I give you this question, I think it would be really cool to see how many seconds it might take some of you. That's if you have, your phone and you have a stopwatch or something nearby. So if you don't mind, not everybody is going to be able to do this. It doesn't matter. But if you don't mind, I'd like to know how fast you get the answer to this question. Okay, I'm going to give you the question. I'm going to count to 10. Then I'm going to give it to you. So get your stopwatches ready. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ready for that question? Here we go. What is the 16th letter of the alphabet? And go. Do, 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 do. Do 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 do. Okay, you probably have it by now. Wait for it. The answer is P. Now, before I made this video, I would have not been able to instantly give you that answer. I do know the answer because I kind of thought about that question before I did this video. Now, I know the answer, but it's in my brain. I mean, I knew the answer beforehand. If someone asks me what's the 12th letter, it's going to be the same kind of thing. I don't know right away. So the point is, I know the answer. It's in my brain. It's kind of like it's on an external hard drive that's deep in my brain. I have the file stored up here, but it's going to take a second to retrieve. Kind of like an external hard drive. Depending on the speed of your external hard drive you have in your computer, it might take a little longer to get a file out, especially if you're using contact instruments. Could be a pain in the butt. So, I know the answer very quickly now that it's P. But if you had asked me before I did this video and before I thought about it, I would have stalled. I would have had to sit there and go A, B, C, D. You get the idea. So now I can actually spit the answer out right away. And I know it's P. 16th letter of the alphabet is P. Now, in a second, I'm going to show you an image, and I want you to tell me what it is. So right now, I don't have the image, but I'm going to put it in later when I do this video. So here's that image. What is it? If you guessed table, you are correct. I'll bet that you got the answer instantly, didn't you? It wasn't like, what's the 16th letter of the alphabet, where you had to take a second. By the way, what is that 16th letter again? The answer is P. P16. Okay, so knowing certain things like what phone number do you call if there's a life or death emergency, 911 is the answer. What does this have to do with guitar? Tons. Lots of things in common, in fact. First of all, I want you to tell me again, what's that 16th letter of the alphabet? The answer is P. I'm willing to bet you have it pretty solidly in your brain now. And if you went out on the street and someone asked you that, you'd probably know right away. Okay, I'll bet you got it way faster this time than you did when I first asked you. So now that you know the 16th letter is P, what's the 17th letter? Think about it for a second. Q. Q is the answer. How did you know this? It's because you already had a quick link, if you want to call it that, like a shortcut in your internet browser you're using P as a quick link reference. It's kind of easy to count from P. You know the alphabet, and you can probably give me the next letter in the alphabet. So just as you used P as a reference point, it's kind of easy to tell what the next letter is, isn't it? Okay, so guitar time now. All right, look at this note right here. Second string, 10th fret. Ooh, what happened to my sound? Oh, that's why. Let's turn on that helix. Second string, 10th fret. Do you know what it is? I'll bet some of you do, some of you don't. Some of you have the ability to figure out what it is, but that information is stored away in your brain. But it's going to take a second, and you're going to have to go like this, and you'll get it. That is, if you have to do that, that's not a bad thing. You do have that ability tucked away in your brain. Now, you just want to be able to retrieve it quickly. So this note, by the way, is A. Second string, 10th fret, A note. I think I talked about this in a different video a little bit, but I remember when I learned Rainbow in the Dark by Ronnie James Dio, when I was like probably 14 or 15 or something like that. I wanted to have some notes to solo over it, just to kind of make my own thing. And I mean, I knew I could play the pentatonic scale, but I wanted to kind of move around the neck a little bit more and, have some other places to play it. So I probably used a chart or the fretboard or something, and I found this note right here. And I knew that second string, 10th fret, is an A. So I thought to myself, if that's A, then I guess this must be a B. So A to B. I used that A as a kind of a reference point, and I got the B. Kind of like when I asked you what the 16th letter of the alphabet was, and you already knew it was P. You knew that you could just use that as a leap pad, and Q would be your next letter. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q. See? Okay. I basically just let that digest, that A note. I probably went and did something else, got a snack. And when I tried playing the song later, I just immediately went there. And I was like, that note sounds good. It's an A note. And after a little bit, it started to look like an A. In the same way a couch, when you see an image of a couch, it looks like a couch to you. You don't even think twice. So now when I see this note, I don't even think twice that this is an A. And it would be cool if you got out your guitar and actually played that note, looked at it, just kind of let it sink in, go do something else, come back to it, and you'll know that is an A. So without really keeping track of it, I was just making sure I was recording. I was thinking if I went through all this, like I'm 7 minutes, almost 8 minutes into this video, that would have been kind of crappy if I had to start all over. Okay, so I am recording, so that's good. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, so without really even keeping track of it, it just started to look like an A to me at the age of 14 or 15 or whatever I was back then. So here I am a million years later reflecting on that moment, and it seemed kind of insignificant at the time. To me, I was just trying to learn something to get by. But in hindsight, I learned a few things. Okay, so you can probably sing the alphabet to me. That file is stored in your brain very solidly. In the same way, once you memorize the names of the 6 strings, E, A, D, G, B, E, Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie, however you want to memorize it. Once you realize there's just 7 letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then there's sharps and flats, and you start to realize, B flat, has the same sound as A sharp. You can file away that bit of information in your mental hard drive. It's there, but it might take you a minute to tell me what the first string on the 14th fret is, right here. So let's talk about that for a second. First string, you already probably know, it's E. And you know that the double dot, 12th fret, is also E. It's E up an octave. So what comes next in the alphabet? After E is F. And then you might think to yourself, well, if I take F and go up one more fret, I've got F sharp. And there's your answer, F sharp. Now, doing it that way, it takes a minute to think about it, but you do ultimately have the information in your brain. So, let's imagine that you're standing in front of your yard, and there's a tree, for whatever reason, that's about to fall on you and potentially kill you. You already know instinctively that you should get out of the way. I'm going to call this mental speed. Your brain immediately knows that you need to get the hell out of the way or you will die. So that is mental speed, processing that. Physical speed is maybe how fast you move out of the way. On a guitar, and in music in general, there's two different kinds of speeds. Same thing. There's physical speed, like, chops, dexterity, shredding, whatever you want to call it. But there's also mental speed. Mental speed doesn't necessarily take chops at all. It certainly can if you want it to. There's different ways of using that train of thought and logic. So let's take a look at this. If we had a chart of the song All the Things You Are, which I'll put up here as I'm doing this, you'll see that the first few chords are F minor 7, B flat 7, and E flat major 7, and A flat major 7. I'm doing that from memory. I think next is D flat major 7 if I remember, but I got to see the chart. So many of us, we're probably, when we learn guitar, we tend to learn the 6th and 5th string because that's kind of where the bar chords are. And there's nothing wrong with that. Good idea, in fact. So you might already know, hey, 6th string, 1st fret is F. The 5th string, 1st fret is B flat. Your 4th string, 1st fret is E flat. So it's helpful to be able to learn the roots of each note down on the low bass strings initially. So like I said, that's where a lot of us kind of learn our chords. Nothing wrong with that at all. Now it's also good to learn these roots all over the guitar. So I don't know, let's just take F. 3rd string, 10th fret. Okay. B flat, I know there's one right here without even looking. 2nd string, 11th fret. Yeah, because remember that 2nd string, 10th fret is A, 1 fret higher, B flat. Kind of came back to haunt us. By the way, what's the 16th letter of the alphabet? The answer is P, and I'll bet you probably have that pretty well down now. And there's a reason why I keep throwing that back at you. Yeah, next letter in the All the Things You Are, it's an E flat, so hey, there's one right there. It's good to know these kinds of things all over. Hey, here's an F, here's a B flat, here's an E flat. The quicker you can retrieve that stuff, there's nothing really hard physically about what I just did there. But that is quick mental speed, processing those notes and knowing right where they are. So let's see, where are we here? Okay, so where did I leave off? Maybe a little further down the road, you know that it's good to know these notes because you might know a cool voicing up higher on the neck. Instead of just doing F minor 7, you might think to yourself, oh, here's that F note on the 3rd string, 10th fret. That's a cool voicing. And then what's next? B flat 7, you could do that right there. So it's good to know mental speed, to know those notes all over the neck. And that's, something that's going to take time. And when I say take time, you've got to actually do it. If you don't do it and spend time on it, all the time in the world is not going to help get you there. You have to actually put a little bit of time each day. So again, 2nd string, 10th fret, what is it? That is an A note, as we talked about, the Ronnie James Dio note. So a lot of you are probably starting to memorize that now if you're actually paying attention and following along here. So let's see, where am I? I kind of wrote some notes here. Oh yeah, so that's roots we were kind of talking about with All the Things You Are. Now it's also very handy to get to know thirds of chords right away. So if I took like F minor 7 and I asked myself, hey, what's the 3rd of that? The answer is A flat. And some of you, it might take a second. You think to yourself, here's F. Okay, let's go up to the 2nd. It's G. Let's go up another. Is it G sharp? No, it can't be G sharp because it's got to be a 3rd. F, G, A. Has to be some kind of an A, doesn't it? The answer is A flat. Even if you don't know this right away, don't worry about that. Just think more about, really think back to the whole 16th letter of the alphabet concept we're doing here. Just little things each day. Just try to learn, a new note. There are benefits to knowing this stuff instantly. It gets you a step closer to being that asshole that always plays the right notes at the right time. Be that asshole And don't let anyone ever tell you, I hope after all the math that you're doing to learn these notes or to think what's the third or the fifth or whatever. Don't let anybody tell you that, that takes away the feeling of the music. That is not true. I know some people that say that, and, they're cool people, and some of them are good players, but they're missing out on what they could be doing here. It's pretty cool to right away to know what the third is. If somebody's playing all the things you are, actually the melody of that tune is mostly just the third of that chord. So if someone's playing an F minor 7, I know right away. And then when they get to the B flat 7, when they get to the E flat major 7, all I'm doing there is playing the third of each chord. I'm pretty good at knowing right away what the thirds are of a note, of a chord. That's really handy if you want to sound like you know what you're doing, and you can always land on the right note at the right time. So again, tell me, what's that 16th letter of the alphabet? The answer is P. What's that second string 10th fret note right here? The answer is A. So to recap, mental speed, it's a very useful concept. It makes you a step closer to being that guy that can hit the right notes at the right time. It gives you more control, gives you more confidence. It's a win-win. What should you do now? You should go put in Holy Diver by Ronnie James Dio. Ooh, someone's calling me. I will call him back. It's my buddy Jim. Let me hang up for a second. Sorry, Jim. I'll get back to you. Okay. Yeah, I'm doing this all in one take. So, or I'm supposed to be. Maybe when I look back at this video, I'll think, oh, that was terrible, and I'll edit something out. So anyway, put in Rainbow in the Dark and play that A note. Associate it with A. Put in some other tune where there's an A chord, A minor, A major, it doesn't matter. Play that A note until you just start to look at this note and it looks like an A. Then maybe play the first string 5th fret. Think to yourself, that's an A note. Third string 14th fret. Think to yourself, that is an A. Till it just starts to look like an A in the same way a couch looks like a couch and you don't even think about it. So that is what I want to talk about today. So just think about this kind of stuff. This is the first video I want to make in this little series, which I'm going to call So You Want to Get Better. I don't know, something like that. Maybe I'll change the title later. Who knows? And as we go through, maybe I will actually edit this a bit and not really have it all in one take. We'll find out. So I hope you got something out of this today, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.